Good afternoon and welcome to the Land, Natural Resources, and Cultural Preservation Committee FY 2020 Budget Hearing, December 15th, 2021, the Mound Auditorium. I call this meeting to order at 5:02, and I'd like to ask Representative Osborne to do an invocation, please.
Father, I just thank you for this day and for this opportunity to be here. And I just ask, Father, that you bless each and every person that's in attendance and their families, and especially during the holidays. Also, Father, that you'll keep those close to heart and close to you, those that have lost loved ones during this year. And Father, for those who are facing COVID and other illnesses, Father, I just lift them up to you. And Father, that you'll guide and direct our meeting tonight. And all these things I ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
And roll call by Legislative Clerk, Ms. April Lindsay.
Joseph Hicks. Charles McHenry. Here. Thomasine Yahola Osborne.
Present.
Dale Proctor.
Here.
Mark Randolph.
Present.
Chairman, you got 5 present and 0 absent.
5 present, 0 absent. Constitutes a quorum. All business conducted will be official. Down to our approval of minutes. Give the committee a few minutes to look over no minutes? Okay, no minutes. Down to our order of business. Emergency Assistance Grant, Hagee Chapel, Indian Methodist Church, Pastor Royce Whitman. Come forward, please. Yeah, that's fine. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Just tell us real quick what's going on.
There you go. I had to get my glasses on. That's the way girls are at church. They have to take care of me all the time. But the furnace went out in the fellowship hall. We don't have any heat in the fellowship hall. That was a reason we put the application in.
Okay. Wonderful. Any questions? Any questions? Any concerns? Entertain a motion, please.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the application for $3,225.
Representative Osborne has made a motion to approve the application for $3,225. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Thomasine Yahola Osborne.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Dale Proctor.
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The application for Hagee Chapel, Indian Methodist Church for $3,225 has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, down to our Department of Housing. Looks like first on the list is Secretary of Housing. Welcome, Ms. Beauty.
Good evening, Council. Okay, so this will be my first presentation regarding the Secretary of Housing budget presentation. I have our Deputy Director handing out the SEBA reports and also the budget for your information. Just I guess a real quick summary or update. So as coming into the position of Secretary of Housing, one of the things that we have done with our financials is instead of accounting for each year based on the Indian Housing Block Grant, we combined all of the previous years into one fund, so that would coincide directly with our Indian Housing Block Grant, Indian Housing Plan. This does help us better account for the funds that we do have available at housing. It pretty much lines everything up into one fund instead of having a different fund for every year. This will better help us plan for allocating those funds throughout each year. So that's just one of the changes that we do have in this coming fiscal year budget. So as we present each department, just keep that in mind. You'll see some changes from this current year into the new year, and some of the changes that will look like some of the budgets have increased, but that is the reason why, so that there's better accountability for the housing department when it comes to the financials. So to start out, we have the Secretary of Housing budget in place. You will see in the first, I think it's the third column from the left, that is our current fiscal year 21 budget. The column next to it is the fiscal year 22 requested budget amount that we have asked for. You will see our salaries, wages, fringe benefits. Those have been adjusted accordingly. As walking into the position, one of the biggest items that we have been analyzing at this point is the wage scale for housing. That has been adjusted to include up to a 10% increase in wages. That does not mean that we're going to give them out, but that was just so that we can put it in our budget as we do our analysis of each position and the workload, and then also their performance. So that's why there's a slight increase in that area within the budget. Next, we do have our travel, mileage, training fees. Obviously, due to COVID, that was a restricted situation for the nation for its safety, but then this new year we did allocate funding for those line items as well. As you can see, we do have our regular operating type budget, supplies, our software, uniforms, vehicle maintenance, fuel purchase fees, bank charges, advertising, equipment, lease equipment, maintenance and repair, our legal services, utilities, telephone, and our building maintenance. As you can note in our request for funding, we have removed our utilities and building maintenance. I believe within this recent year, that normal cost had been transferred over to the nation's facilities department to cover those costs for our building and utilities. So we've removed them from the Secretary of Housing budget. I don't know if there was any other questions that you may have. I did provide the Schedule B, which is attached on the second page. Schedule A, sorry, and that does show the positions and the salary ranges, and then also includes that proposed salary of a 10% increase.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a few questions. First of all, I appreciate the 10% increase in the salaries. I think that's something that's been a long time coming. On the legal services, have you all considered, are you all talking about possibly getting someone on board for legal duties?
With the recent McGirt situation, and then of course coming out of the no eviction moratorium, and trying to determine what court we will utilize when we go through that process, that has been raised by the staff. So that is something that is on our plate right now, to figure out what we need to do to make sure that we have the right legal representation. That's something that either I was going to look to seek if there's anybody that we can contract with. I believe housing does have an individual right now under contract, but we need to be able to get quicker services provided to us. We have a lot of different situations that could be also liability. So that is something that I am looking at next. I don't know about hiring someone. I would love that. That would, that really puts in a good idea for us to consider, given how many cases that we manage there at housing. But that is a definite need I am recognizing at this point.
You brought up about which court that housing should utilize, and I know Ms. Nichols and I actually had worked together on a project where the housing code states that we will use our tribal court, yet I know that we're not doing that. So I'd like to see possibly in the future that we do use our district court. However, I know that we are way behind as far as our court cases go. So whether that needs to be changed or not, I'm not sure, which way we need to go, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
I think that's all I have, Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Beauty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Osborne.
Chair,
Go ahead, Representative Hicks.
Miss Beauty, at the top of this budget you gave us, it says federal funds. So is that federal funds for all? of the
They're federal
outstanding?
funds.
Okay, that's all I need to clear up. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Representative Hicks. Representative McHenry. Righty. Entertain a motion.
Chair, I make a motion for to pass or to approve the housing budget for 2022.
We have a motion to approve the Secretary of Housing budget by Representative Hicks,
Second.
second by Representative Osborne. Roll call vote, please.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasine Yohola Osborne.
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The budget for Secretary of Housing has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Administrative Services.
Hello again. So with the administrative services, I believe that was our building type facility. And then we also had, I think, 2 to 3 employees that were being funded under this at one point. And at this time, in this new fiscal year, since that has been transferred over to the actual building facilities department, we no longer have that as part of our budget anymore in this coming year.
Thank you. We'll go on down to the POH rehab. It's POH.
Okay, I have Alvin Bucktrot, the construction manager, so I will stay right here with him to
Thank you.
assist.
Come on down, Mr. Bucktrop. Welcome.
Anyway, I don't have copies of them. I was told to make sure I have a copy.
Just wait. It'll take her too long. Miss Beauty. How's things been going for you so far? You enjoying it or?
They've been going really well. A lot of, we'll say, a lot of challenges, changes that we're trying to put in place, identifying areas and policies that we need to revise, and trying to get everyone to work together. You know, we're not perfect, but I do see that there are a lot of things that we need to start working on and getting completed. But for the most part, you know, working with the staff has been really good. You know, we're as managers, I feel like we've come along together and are trying to be a little bit more open with each other on those things that need to be done and have better understanding, and just trying to make people more accountable in their positions.
Wonderful.
So, you know, and I know people don't like change, but as we're slowly getting into changing things, they are adapting. So
That's great. Thank you.
you're welcome.
We're ready for you, Mr. Bucktrot.
Yes, sir.
You want to just run across your budget real quick?
Sure. Salary and wages in this particular program has went up because we've got 3 more positions figured in for inspectors on it. That's why that has went up. Fringe also, that goes up accordingly. Travel pretty much stayed the same. Hadn't done too much travel. And the training fees, hopefully that we'll be using more of that money in a year coming, you know, for more training for the guys, inspectors. Supplies went up tremendously because of the cost of things as we've been moving forward with the pandemic and everything. And then we had here it is, software license. That's for potentially having a estimating program where everybody will have the same estimate going on instead of everybody being different, having different things for, say, a roof. They should all be the same if they have the same information. This program will be able to make them do that. In the process of doing demos with some right now to justify this particular program, which HUD recognizes. The vehicle, that's just normal wear and tear on the vehicles. Fuel, same. Equipment is just on my notes. Copiers, that nature. Utilities, telephones, cell phones, fax machines. Communication is the cell phone, sorry. Is the cell phones and for paying for the service on the laptops. POH rehab, I miss something. POH rehab budget, we increased it. I'm not sure that line item will go up due to a certain degree, probably another 2 million, maybe, I don't know. I think that was mentioned before, but there again, expenses have gone crazy with materials and what have you, so rehabs and stuff are getting a little more expensive to do. Anything's getting expensive to do anymore. The hospital rehab, that's the same thing. Start doing them, the price just goes up on anything. Over a total budget of $5,580,000.
Thank you. Questions? And POH is privately owned homes.
Chairman, I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Representative Osborne.
Mr. Bucktrot, did you say that you were going to be hiring 3 more people?
Yes,
Okay.
inspectors.
So on the vehicles, they're going to be inspectors? Are the $75,000, is it going to be to replace or to buy new vehicles for those inspectors?
Buy vehicles, but that wasn't budgeted in for the new position, so that would be just one vehicle. We have another office vehicle that we use for the office staff, which that inspector can use.
Okay.
Then we'll have to lease one or rent one, or however the fleet will let us borrow until we get funds available to buy another vehicle for each one of those additional
Okay.
inspectors.
Okay. And so the privately owned rehab, would you mind to describe that so the committee will be more familiar with what you do for our citizens?
It's like if they're handicapping their bathroom, redoing the roof, siding, if it's rotted through, and it's all emergency issues, not a remodel as needed program, but it gets confused out there. People think it's a rehab remodel, but it's not. It's for emergency purposes only. Like a leaky roof or a bathroom flooded or something like that. We'll go out and fix the damages that's done with that, or put in a handicap ramp of some sort, to make it easier for them to get to the house, to their driveway. Things of that nature. You're just a conglomerate of things, kitchen cabinets pulling off the wall, pretty much the way it's going now. That you name it, then that's going to get done, maybe, pretty much.
And just to clarify, the privately owned homes, it's homes that are not in the inventory. They're not paying on those homes. It's a home that they own.
Yes.
What is the maximum amount that you all spend on a home?
Well, by policy it says $7,500, but anything that goes over that, Miss Beauty would have to sign off on to pay more than what we've been paying on these homes. And
Do you recall how many citizens you were able to help fiscal year 21?
I cannot. Not right off the top of my head.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Entertain a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the privately owned home rehab budget.
We have a motion to approve the POH rehab. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative McHenry. Motion by Representative Osborne, I'm sorry. And seconded by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Thomasini Holo Osborne.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The POH rehab has been approved. Thank you, Mr. Bucktrot. Next, we have home ownership.
Good evening, everybody. I come to the front, pass these.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good evening. I am Luis Flores, the Development Director for the Housing. We'll go over the budget with you real quick, and if there's any questions, just please ask.
Thank you.
All right. So our budget compared to the previous year, it looks like there's a big increase. It's just because, like Nadine had mentioned, we added the old budgets all to one budget. So when we get to the bottom line, it's a bigger number than the previous year. Our salary and wages, though, pretty much stay the same. We're keeping them at 353,000, and then our fringe only increased by 10,000 on there. As in the previous budget in 2001, we didn't have travel, so we're putting it in the 2022 budget. Mileage we do not have in. We added training fees. This is just to develop our staff and get them more into the things that they're not acquainted to, as far as like training and getting stuff for like HUD that they might need to know, and just policies and procedures. Our supplies we did increase by just 2,000. That's just for the supplies that we use, and just with inflation and everything, that's where that came from. License and software, the same thing, just for all our programs that we use. And then the uniforms, there is a big difference there. That's due to the fact that none of our staff in the housing right now is wearing uniforms at the development part, so we're trying to get them all to be uniformed, so we're all looking the same when we go out, whether we're going to a project or in the office. Vehicle maintenance stayed the same. And fuel purchase, it just increased by 2,000 just due to the cost of the rising gas. We did put $1,000 in for advertising. That's just in case we ever need to put anything out in the paper or anything that we can't get internally out to the public. Then our equipment, our lease and rental equipment, that's due to the supplies that we lease in the office, as far as like our fax machine, copy machine, and then the maintenance and repair as well. We did take the utilities out, and then our telephone and fax, those are for our cell phones of all the employees in the department. Building maintenance, we didn't keep in there. That's pretty much our most part of our budget for the development. If we go to the bottom, you'll see the direct assistance, construction, acquisition, mortgage assistance. Some of those did increase. It's due to the cost of the rise of supplies and building right now. But with that being said, construction, our goal is to meet the 9 homes, and I think with the $4 million, it's feasible to do. Same as with the acquisition homes, we're only asking for 500,000 more from the previous year at 2 million. So we'll have 2,500,000 on that, and with the cost of homes right now, that should be able to happen to meet our goal of 12 homes to purchase. I think we'll actually be able to do more than that. So, assisted mortgage, that's usually just for like the 25% or $25,000 down that we use to help people get into homes. And the land cost, we included that in there just to the fact that we're going to be purchasing land to build more homes this year. So we will try to build as much as we can. And on the bottom where the construction is, that's for the Three Ponds elderly project that we currently are overseeing. Our vehicle, we have $50,000 in for vehicles. Currently, we have 2 vacant positions in our department, so we'll probably be using that to purchase 1 vehicle. And our indirect cost, it did increase by a little bit. That's where you see our total budget at $11,305,090 or $305,559. So that's where our increase comes though. But it does look like a big increase, but like I said, it's all because we rebudgeted everything into all one line. So
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the 2022 budget for the homeownership.
Motion's been made to approve the homeownership budget by Representative McHenry. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Hicks. Roll call vote, please.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasine Hola Osborne,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The budget for the homeownership has been approved.
thank you very much.
Yes. Next, we have modernization. We're gonna have to bill you for these copies.
For me?
I was just joking. We want some federal money over here.
It is.
Go ahead, Mr. Bucktrump.
Well, good.
Can you talk into the mic too, please? You can adjust it if you want. If you
Okay.
need to. Okay.
Didn't think I needed mic, but anyway. Salary and wages, so like POH, that was a little increase. I didn't say anything earlier, but we did figure in wages on POH, and then just like the modernization, we figured in increases on that for the. That's why you see that jump. Same thing with the fringe. The travel we had to carry over. We didn't use any, so we just carried it on over to this year for the travel, the training, conferences, supplies. Again, we just bumped it up a little bit on this side. Vehicle maintenance, we doubled that a little bit just for breakdowns and maintenance. Tires, we've already had to replace tires on one truck already, so fuel, it's about the same. We didn't increase it a whole lot. Utilities, I don't know why the utilities is on there. Oh, we took it off. Yeah, we took it off. And then the other on the cell phones, iPads, communications. That brought it all up to $307,663. The direct assistance that went up considerably. That covers people that get a little bit displaced from whatever reason. Mutual help, rehab. We still have a few of those in stock. Put that set aside for. And it increased again for the materials. Rental rehab, that's going to increase considerably from what I understand. But again, it's getting awful expensive. Rehabbing these rental rehabs, they're aged, deteriorated to a big degree where we're having to do extra things to secure the structure and make sure it's insulated properly. And so that's why those items tend to go up on those rental rehabs. Oh, okay. Yeah, then the hospital rehab was like $3.5 million. Don't know if that may be increased when they combined all the budgets and everything. That will go up. It's going to have to, because it's just the rehab is just astronomical. The cost of things. was, $1,900,080. The indirect, that went up considerably. Of course, everything else went up. So with a grand total of $2,316,260.
Whoa. Any questions?
Chairman, I have a question. Mr. Bucktrot, I noticed on this particular budget here that there is a line item for conference, seminars, and meetings. And there's $1,000 in it. What is that for? Because I noticed on the other budgets, it doesn't have that particular line item.
Right, and that was always a wonder of mine also. Why was it like that all the time? But it covers for, like, if we had to have a fee for training to set it up or something like that, from what I understand.
A training for?
For whatever we're gonna get training for, if we had to do some preliminary purchases before that, or we had to buy, books or something like that.
Okay, well, the line item before that says training fees. Can you speak in the?
Speaking of the mic, please.
We're also planning on doing the contractor event so that those fees could come out of this line item.
Contractor event?
Yeah,
Okay,
in January,
okay.
when we're gonna try to get more contractors.
Oh, at River Spirit?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the 2022 budget for the modernization.
We have a motion by Representative McHenry to approve the modernization budget. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Hicks. Roll call vote, please.
Charles McHenry?
Yes.
Darrell Proctor?
Yes.
Thomasine Hall Osborne?
Yes.
Joseph Hicks?
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The budget for the modernization has been approved. Thank you. Next, we have housing services.
Thank you.
Good evening. The
evening.
housing services budget is part of the admissions department, and you'll see an increase on the salary and wages, like Nadie mentioned. We did put in for the raise, not that they may or may not, or we may or may not distribute those. There's not really much of an increase from the current budget to the new budget. Anybody have any questions or see anything that sticks out?
Jamie, on the housing services specialist, is that your admissions group?
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the housing services budget.
Motion been made by Representative Osborne to approve the housing services. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Thomasine Hall Osborne?
Yes.
Joseph Hicks?
Yes.
Charles McHenry? Yes. Darrell Proctor?
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The budget for the housing services has been approved. Thank you very much. Elderly housing is next. Please introduce yourselves, ladies, also.
My name is Sydney Martin, and I am the site manager for elderly housing. The budget that you see in front of you hasn't increased a lot in certain line items, but there are some that remained the same. Probably a slight increase in some. You have any questions?
Any questions?
Feel free to ask.
Ms. Martin, I noticed that the building maintenance are included in here and the utilities, but the other programs aren't. Is it because they're rental units, elderly units?
Yeah, that would be for the community building alone, not including the units.
Okay.
Any more questions? Go ahead, Representative
I have a
McHenry.
question, just being curious. I see on the salary and wages full-time that the request for this year has dropped. Why is that?
From the 21 budget
22.
comparing to the 22. That is a typo. No, that should be right.
Nate?
So it is actually a mistake. The 228 from prior year includes the fringe. It should only be 154,939. 83,667 for fringe is included in that 228 that you're seeing. So that is a mistake from prior year.
This should be right.
Could you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
The 228, 151 for the prior year includes our fringe from our last year's Schedule A.
Any more questions?
I have a question regarding the uniforms. I noticed that there's an increase in the uniforms. Is that for all rental?
That would be for elderly housing only. For our two maintenance positions, they don't wear uniforms right now, so we were looking at putting them into those.
When you all do that, do you put their names on them? I'm just curious.
We can.
The only reason, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The only reason I ask, I know that when I talk to citizens and when I ask them who they spoke to, normally they don't remember. And I don't know if it's a matter of, the citizens or the employees, they don't have a name badge, but by putting it on their shirt might be helpful. Because I know one of the comments that I've gotten is, well, he was short, fat, and he had glasses. I was like, that's about 50% of our employees. I was just curious.
Any more questions?
Yes, we can add that, definitely.
And we are trying to correct that. We do have uniforms scheduled for this year, and that will give them that name to have on the shirt.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend.
Everybody took their glasses off. All right, any more questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I make a motion to pass the 2022 elderly housing budget.
We have a motion to approve the elderly housing budget by Representative Hicks. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasini, Holla, Osborne.
Yes.
Chairman, I got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. Elderly housing budget has been approved. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Next is crime prevention.
Okay, the crime prevention funding is basically for just supplies and the equipment that we use when needed on occasions of needing cameras or lighting, even sometimes fences, mostly at our rental apartment complexes or elderly. We've even used this past year for some construction cameras at our projects, 2 projects that we're building, just to kind of keep an eye on things and make sure nobody's coming in and taking stuff through the night or tearing up stuff.
Very good. Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the crime prevention budget.
Second.
I have a motion by Representative Osborne to approve the crime prevention budget, seconded by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Thomasini, Holla, Osborne.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Charles McHenry.
Yes.
Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Chairman, I got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The budget for crime prevention has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Housing management.
Good evening again. This is the housing management budget. This covers all of our inventoried homes, the homes that the Department of Housing owns, which currently right now we have 1,064 homes in our inventory. This housing management budget, first I would like to let you guys know that I was the manager of housing management and admissions, and recently made the decision we had already made the decision to separate these 2 budgets, and recently made the decision to let another person take over the housing management department because I felt like it needed closer attention and more interaction with the manager over there, more so than what I can give, and I'm going to focus on all my attention on the admissions departments and all the separate different programs. Nadie and I discussed it and felt like it was a good decision and a good move. So we recently made that change, but this is the budget for housing management. The biggest difference is going to be in the contractual. When Ms. Rivas was here, she asked us to contract out the billing, and so that that cost includes that. And then she had asked us to hire a like an after hours and a weekend answering service, so that those calls that we got on the weekend and after hours could be answered by an answering service. And the rest of it, the direct assistance. There's an increase there because, as Ms. Beauty explained at the beginning, we've combined all the budgets, previous year's budgets into one. So that's why that is different. And then the pilot taxes, that's increased because of us adding new units. And the insurance significantly increased because we discussed, and Ms. Beauty and When Ms. Rivas was here, we discussed adding flood insurance to all of our inventoried homes. I think that about covers that. And Thomasina wanted to address a question that you had asked Mr. Bucktrot. You had asked about how many privately owned homes we were able to serve with the privately owned homes program, and probably between 600 and 800 homes, different assistants. I know that covers a different budget, but I wanted to address that question. So,
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions?
Yes, Ms. Nichols?
Yes, sir.
On the contractual, you stated that whenever Ms. Rivas come in, that she said to send it over and have an answering service. I understand this is federal funds, but how is the answering service actually working for the program?
We never got that far, so we haven't hired an answering service as of yet.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Welcome.
Thank you. Any more questions? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the housing management 2022 budget.
Motion's been made by Representative McHenry to approve the housing management. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Hicks. Roll call vote, please.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasina Holo Osborne,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks. Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The housing management budget has been approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Operating sub. Makes me hungry. Made my stomach growl. All right. Go team. Go team.
Would you like these individual or all at once? All at once.
What do we get?
Okay. Okay.
Ooh. Yeah, just set it on his desk. Hello. Thank you. Hi. Hi, Tina. You too.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Doing well. How about you? All right.
Hello. Restriction.
Thank you.
I was getting ready to say you're getting me in it. All right, ladies, we're ready. Please introduce yourself also. Okay.
My name is Tammy Fisher, and I'm the Kretschmer Rental Property Manager.
I'm Sonia Rock. I'm with Taylor Drive Site Manager.
I'm Malsa Tecumseh. I'm your Fala Site Manager.
Alicia Walker with Shakota Rentals Properties. I own Tina Kennard from Okima Rental Property.
Thank you, ladies. Go ahead, whoever wants to go first.
Once again, good evening, and I'm Tammy. Our budget hasn't increased that much. Did you have any questions on any of it? On your part?
Tammy, how long have you been with housing?
With housing or,
Yeah,
well, yeah, I've been with housing the whole time. February be 22 years.
And with the low rent site?
I've been there about 12 years total.
Thank you.
Any questions? What we'll do, we'll let everybody go through, and if there's no questions at the end, then we'll just approve everyone. Okay. All right. Next. Thank you.
Taylor Drive. So basically it's the same, just nothing really different.
Any questions?
Sonia, how long have you been with housing?
Since 2012. I'm sorry, 2017. I was with IT 2012, sorry.
Okay. So 4 years?
Yes.
Have you always been at Taylor Drive?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Any questions? Any more questions? No more. Next. Thank you.
Hi, again, my name's Malcy. I'm with your Follow Housing rental properties, and not much has changed there either.
Any questions for Mr. Tecumseh?
Same question that I had for everybody else.
I've been with the housing for 3 years, and at Follow the 3 years.
Thank you, Mr. Tecumseh. Thank you, Chairman.
Shakota Site Manager.
Any questions?
Same question.
Been with the tribe for 7 years. I've been with rental site for a year.
Thank you.
Very good.
Chairman.
Thank you. Daryl, Mr. Proctor.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question. This has been asked of me at the Eufaula community. They were asking about the water bills they have at this property in Eufaula, and they were saying that they had to pay separate water bill, and other sites have the bill in their payment, kind of bills paid, I guess. Is that the way it works here in Eufaula?
No, we do not work on a master meter. They all pay their individual bills. I have been looking into it though.
Okay. And then that's the way I understood it, that it was being looked into, because I know they had upgraded a lot of the water system in Eufaula, and their bills have been getting higher, and I've been getting a lot of concerns on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Proctor. Go ahead, Ms. Kennard.
Same question.
Okay, I've been with the housing, I was with them for 7 years, the Department of Health. I worked at the dental clinic for 7 years and then transferred to the tribe, and I've been a site manager at Okima for 5.
Thank
so
you.
a total of 12 years.
Okay.
Any questions? Any more questions? Entertain a motion, please.
Chairman, I have a question for Miss Beauty.
Yes.
Miss Beauty, I was just looking at the salaries for the different sites, and I noticed that there's a little bit variation between the proposed salary. I mean, it's not a lot, but I was just curious as to, I didn't know if years of service, was figured in that or not.
Yes, so looking at the current salaries that are in place and then what we're proposing, when the employee was hired, those were the amount that they were offered at that time based on experience, with that specific position. So I believe that's why they're so staggered or different. But as we do our evaluation and with the in comparison with the HR compensation study that was conducted, that is one of our biggest discussions with the rental site manager, Betty, is to make sure that we start bringing those up to where they're competitive with that certain category. So I believe that's why there's such differentiations with it, but that is something that I've identified as well to include as part of that increase.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Chairman.
Any more questions? Entertain a motion, please.
Chair, make a motion to pass the 2022 operating sub-budget.
We have a motion by Representative Hicks to approve the operating sub-budget. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Dale Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasine Yohola Osborne.
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. Operating sub-budget has been approved. Thank you very much, ladies. We appreciate you. Admissions.
Thank you for your time. And anytime, I just want to say for the rental properties, if you guys are ever if you want to come and swing by our sites, we've been working hard on getting our rental properties, trying to get them up to date and cleaned and everything. So if you're ever in Okima or anywhere, come by and look, because we really, truly have been working hard. So feel free to come by and see us.
Mado.
Thank you for the invite. I just want to make a comment, Chairman Randolph, and I wish I would have made it while the others were here. Miss Beauty, I appreciate you allowing your directors and managers to come and bring their budget forward. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Admissions.
Good evening again. This is the admissions budget. I mentioned when I did the housing management budget that we separated these two departments, and this is the budget strictly for admissions. This covers the manager and two admissions counselors and the receptionist. Anybody see anything that have questions?
Any questions for Mrs. Nichols?
I just have a question regarding something that you stated earlier. There's going to be there's a separation now, and you're not going to be overseeing as many people any longer since you're just going to be over admissions. What other projects are you going to have?
I have admissions and housing services, both of those programs, and then I oversee all of the new programs that we're going to be like elder subsidy and HUD VASH. And then when we get if we get that homeowner assistance fund, we're going to be developing some new things there. So I'll be overseeing all that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the 2020 or 2022 admissions budget.
Motion's been made by Representative Hicks to approve the admissions budget. Do we have a second? Second by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Joseph Hicks, Charles McHenry, Dale Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasine Yohola Osborne.
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The admissions budget has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is force account. Hello. Welcome, Mr. McIntosh. You have the floor.
All right. Okay, my name's Dan McIntosh. I've been manager at Forest County for 7 years, worked for housing for 15. Our budget has went up. You can tell on the salaries. I've going to hire 7 new people this year. Then raises, trying to give some raises out. And then the supplies, they've gone up because we're doing more work. And the way COVID hit, hot water tanks, for example, went up $100 a piece. So that's why the wage increase on the supplies and materials. Uniforms, we was told was going to get uniforms this year. And that should cover for all my new people. So for like and most of it was for safety, like steel toe boots, jackets, bibs, for the wintertime. And general vehicle maintenance, all my guys are in charge of a truck. So we make sure they keep the oil change, new tires. We do all this in fleet and just for basic repairs. And we're really hard on trucks, places we go. Fuel, same thing. Cost of fuel's gone up. Plus I'm bringing in 7 more people, so I have more trucks on the road. And that also includes our fuel for our machines in this. Our fees, that's for basically I got my contractor, electrical contractor, plumbing contractor, and he has to pull a license in every county that we work at. And we also got journeymen and apprentices who have to have their license when they're up there working. And also pulling permits for the cities, because the cities got to come inspect their work. That's where our fees, and it's gone up because same thing. And then our equipment lease. I don't lease a lot of equipment. I pretty much got everything I need. But in case one breaks down, I'll be able to lease one and keep people from having to wait. Then same thing, equipment maintenance and repair. Try to have all my machines serviced twice a year. Keep them in good shape. Keep them running, keep them operating. I got a contractual fee in there, so sometimes we may run into a place where we have to take a lot of fence down, or we get a work order to put a lot of fence up. Sometimes it's better to have me to contract it out and have them do it. Also concrete work, I use it for concrete work, hiring a finisher to, we may go help him pour, but we'll hire someone to finish. And our utilities, that's basically, our utilities on the shop. And the communications, all my people have cell phones. We get all our work orders on the cell phones about email. Everybody gets one. That way they don't have to come back into town. If you're in Broken Arrow, you see it. You see email comes up. You got one in Broken Arrow, you're there at work. And our building maintenance, that's just repair on our building. Anything goes wrong. And I've also got money put in for vehicles this year. Hiring some new people. And that's basically I'm hoping it gets me 2 trucks. It may give me 3. The way things are going, it may just get me 2. And the equipment, I put that in there. I got one that's getting old, going to trade it off and get a little smaller one. And that's my budget.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. Any questions?
Stan, I noticed that you didn't have any travel or training in your budget. Is there not any reason for that?
Most of my contractors, they can do their if they have to do more classes, which they have to every once in a while, they do it on the internet. And training, For the type of work we do, we don't go to a lot of trainings.
So you said your contractors, they kind of more or less do that on their own, but what about your employees? There's no need for training?
Not these employees, because there's really, I just got the one secretary in this bunch. Now I have people in my office that work for the inventory, but they don't go to much training either.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Entertain a motion.
Chair, I make a motion to pass the 2022 budget for force account.
Motion's been made to approve the force account budget by Representative Hicks. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Osborne. Roll call vote, please.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Charles McHenry, Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasine Hall Osborne.
Yes.
Chairman, we've got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The force account budget's been approved. Mr. McIntosh. Inventory. Oh. Mr. McIntosh, I'm looking, there's not a big change, so I'm just going to ask the committee if they have any questions. Does the committee have any questions for Mr. McIntosh? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, Chair, to go ahead and accept the budget for 2022 for the inventory of housing.
Motion's been made by Representative McHenry to approve the inventory budget. Do we have a second? Second by Representative Hicks. Roll call vote, please.
Charles McHenry,
Yes.
Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasine Hall Osborne,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Chairman, got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. Inventory budget has been approved.
Thank you.
Rental properties. You are the next contestant. Hello.
Hello, I'm Andrea, and I am new. And this is my new budget. Do you guys have any questions?
Have any questions, committee? I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, make a motion to pass the Coedia and Sunrise Trail rental for 2022.
Motion's been made to approve the budget for the rental properties. Seconded by Mr. Hicks, seconded by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Charles McHenry, Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Thomasine Hall Osborne.
Yes.
Chairman, got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The budget has been approved. Thank you and welcome.
I would like to just clarify on the elderly budget. Sydney did not do last year's budget, so she was looking to me. The question you had about the salaries, it is actually 3 ponds. 3 ponds was built into our budgets last year because we thought it would be ready. It wasn't, so this year we've taken it out.
because we've got an estimated completion date of December 2022. So we decided to leave it out of this year's budget altogether. So that's the difference in the salaries, and I apologize. The numbers were familiar or similar to the fringe and the honor schedule A, so it looked like a mistake to me. But that is what it was. It was 3 ponds. So I just wanted to clarify that for you all. And I am Betty Rose. Sorry. Thank you all very much.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Department of Community and Human Services Rental Assistance. Welcome, Ms. Hanawa.
Well, thank you. Good evening, committee.
Yeah. No.
Thank you.
Okay, so as you know, Social Services receives a piece of the NAHASDA, the Indian Housing Plan, the block grant. This year we were informed that we would be allocated $650,000. So the budget you have in front of you, the old-fashioned budget worksheet reflects $650,000. You have the Schedule A attached. We do pay 2 staff from our NAHASDA budget. And then there is a Munis spreadsheet, the last page, and you will see that there is a miscalculation. That 2022 column total 653,170. The actual amount is the one to the right under direct assistance. And we had corrected it. There's just been some issues between us and finance and the Munis system. So I know we're submitting all of our corrections. This is not the only budget that I have that needs correction, but we're submitting those to Clay and his staff Friday. I think Secretary Carmen's submitting all of ours, and this is going to be included. So that direct assistance line item will be changed to the 456,524.80, and that will give us the grand total of $650,000.
Very good. Questions? Any questions? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget for 2022 for rental assistance, or approve, excuse me.
Motion's been made by Representative McHenry to approve the rental assistance budget. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Osborne. Roll call vote, please.
Charles McHenry. Yes. Darrell Proctor.
Yes.
Thomasina Hall Osborne.
Yes.
Joseph Hicks.
Yes.
Chairman got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. The rental system budget has been approved.
Hello.
Yep.
Chairman, I have a question. Miss Beauty, would you explain the difference between travel and training fees? I've noticed that on the line items, they're separated.
So I believe the travel would be like your per diem, you know, any type of expenses, rental car, that type, and then, or mileage. And then I think that the actual training should be the actual fees for that specific class, or the fee that they charge to attend those type of trainings. Or it could be, you know, if they're trying to get license for their class, that type of thing.
The reason I ask that is because on the per diem sheet, I don't recall seeing them separated.
Okay.
It's just all been, and it's just, I mean, it's not housing necessarily. Yeah. It's even ours. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I noticed sometimes they will have 2 line items just so they could segregate what the fees are versus what the actual travel costs, or travel costs, you know, to get their mileage per diem.
And I just want to make a comment. I actually was adding up the travel cost for all the programs that it applied to, and there's about $110,000 worth of travel. And I'm just going to ask that just because historically, and I've been told by different employees that there's only a certain group that get to go to training. So I feel like all the employees should have the opportunity to go to training. But I also noticed too that the low rent budgets for travel, they were all kind of scattered all over the place as well. Okema, their travel budget was $1,000. And then you go to Okmulgee, I don't remember if it was Taylor or Crutchmer, it went up to $4,900. So I was just curious as to why there was a difference there.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things working with the managers is getting them to really determine what that budget will be and why. My biggest goal for everyone that works in housing is the training part. You know, I wouldn't be here today if I wasn't given that opportunity when I was in different capacities. And so that has been a push that I've been putting back onto the managers to identify the weaknesses, the strengths that their departments have, and then getting them that training so that, you know, they provide great service to the community, but then they're also become an asset for housing. So with that, we will take a look at those as well. I think that we are, from what I understand, we're able to do budget modifications under a certain percent throughout the year if needed. So at that time, when we relook at those and identify that training, we'll definitely do that for sure. But I did notice that today as we're presenting as well, that, you know, maybe we can take a better look at the way we're producing our budgets and what our goals are for each year. But that definitely is one of them. I know for sure that we need to be better consistent on how we plan our budget and what we anticipate for that upcoming year.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome. Ms. Beauty, I have a question for you also. Is there someone on call, like say the water heater breaks or an HVAC system goes out on the weekend, and we'll get calls. And you know, it's been interesting for me. This is my third administration, and each time I'm like, can we have an on-call list? You know, then they always say, well, anybody that's a secretary is on call. But I've had times when I've called and no one answers. So is there a number we can call if we're called on the weekend?
So one of the things that I've noticed right away was with the force account. Normally that would be where I would designate someone to be that on-call. I don't know, based on history, maybe at one point there was something like that set up. But when force account came into play, they're not so much maintenance people, but more toward completing projects. And so it was a whole cost center situation for how we accounted for force account. But since we've done this budget, what we did, I don't know if you noticed, under the federal grant funding that we provided today with force account, that now is falling underneath the Indian Housing Block Grant. Prior, it wasn't being funded that way, so they had to do job costing and so forth. So that's why sometimes complaints were made specifically that when our rental property said, hey, I need a work order to replace a hot water heater, why did it cost me $1,500 when I could have got it for, you know, 1,000 or less? And that was because we may send two people out to do the hot water heater and we had to include their wages. But by making this change and funding it through the grant, this allows us that more flexibility to hopefully do that, where we can have an on-call in place. I know that's the biggest complaint, especially when it got really hot. People wanted service right away. But that is something that is part of one of our plans. I would like to establish that specifically for really emergency type situations. You know, I identify that as your heating, cooling, sewer, water type situations that, you know, things that we can't live without, but yet we need a solution, a quick, easy assistance. But that will be part of one of our plans, as Stan had mentioned, that he's able to hire 7 more individuals for his department. But I hear it, I know we need to do it, and that's part of what we would like to do as well.
And I'm wondering, just because for us, we get calls, and especially if it's an elder, we'll get calls from a lot of their family, and they get upset after a while. They'll start saying to us, how come nobody's called, or we called you, and then they'll have someone else call, or our sister or brother will call, and we'll get a lot of calls, and it just kind of puts us in a predicament sometimes. So I hope you get it set, and it's not just y'all. We hear it from each departments, just because things happen on the weekend also,
Well,
so.
what would be real helpful if income is an issue. When we utilize this grant, we have to make sure they're income qualified. So if it's somebody who owns their home, it's not an inventory home for us, we can help them, but we would need other funding to do that. So so the income would not be a barrier to us to assist them. I mean, that's something in the future. I don't know if the nation would consider funding something like that. Home, from my experience, our tribe funded a program for that. They utilized tribal dollars, so we didn't have to verify income. And what it did was the guidelines in it was set up specifically for elders and disabled people, homeowners. So if they called, we were able to do that and assist them right away without that tedious HUD process of income verification. So that would be one way I think that could help address those type of emergency needs, but we would need another set of money that's not guided by income verification.
Call on us, and maybe we can put legislation together and get it rolling.
Okay.
The last thing I'd like to say, and it's not just to you, um, I believe in empowerment. I believe in a strengths perspective, and one of the things I've seen here at Creek Nation is sometimes the morale is low, and I think about our services, and I think when our employees are treated respectfully, when they're acknowledged, when they're given financial incentives, they're they're going to work better. And I think it's been proven. Any successful business, if their employees are happy, or if they're in a productive environment where they are respected, they work harder and they provide better services. And it's not aimed at anybody. It's just something I want to say. I want to speak it out loud, because for the 9 years I've been on council, I keep hoping that we begin to provide quality services. And I know we're tied up with a lot of these federal dollars and all that, but I would just like to see our departments happy, and our employees want to come to work. I just wanted to say that much.
I'll give you a quick example. As we assess the HR compensation study against what we currently have with our positions, there was one individual that was hired in, has worked here longer than the rest of the ones that hold that same position. Their morale, the way they were conducting themselves in their work really reflected that. So we went ahead and did an adjustment to that person's wage to be fair, to bring them up to that same group of people in that same position, and that has just done wonders. This person has totally changed. They want to do the work. They're very active. The happiness in them has changed. I think Stacy and I had recognized that right away within a couple of weeks. We're like, yay, they're back. We want them to do that. So I definitely see that. Again, from my interview, I'm a numbers person, so I'm going to go in and look at that too, to see, are we really compensating employees in comparison with that study, and try to get people there. But again, always considering fairness, the work productivity, and my biggest thing is the attitude part, to make sure that we try to include all of that as part of how we evaluate people. Because we get tied down with a lot of citizen things, but it's always, hey, we have to deal with it in a positive way. Even if we're being yelled at, we still can't react to that, and still try to do our best to help them the best that we can.
Very good. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Everybody okay, committee? We're going to need a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion to send all of the approved budgets to BF&J for funding.
We have a motion by Representative Osborne to send all approved budgets to the BF&J committee for funding. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative McHenry. Roll call vote, please.
Thomasini Osborne,
Yes.
Joseph Hicks,
Yes.
Charles McHenry, Darrell Proctor,
Yes.
Chairman, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion is approved. Down to other business. Any other business? Announcements. Benediction, I'd like to ask Representative McHenry to render that for us.
Chairman,
Uh-huh.
Chairman, this is Daryl.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
Tomorrow, I think we're supposed to be there at the office at 2:00, 2 to 3, and take some pictures, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Is that true?
Yes, sir. 2:00.
And our meetings tomorrow start at 5. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Is there any way we can move it up to 4:00? I don't know if that's possible. I just wanted to ask that question since we'll be there at 3.
What do you think, committee? It's up to y'all. I'm fine with it. 4. Yeah, we can do that, Mr. Proctor.
Okay, that was just kind of a suggestion that I put out there, and I appreciate everybody agreeing to that. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Benediction, please.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we praise your holy name, give thanks, Father, for this day that you blessed us with, Father. Just thanking you, Father, for another opportunity that we had, Father, to conduct the business of the nation, Father. Lord, we just ask that you continue, Father, to bless these decisions that were made today. Continue, Father, to put your favor, Father, upon all the workers, Father, upon housing, Father, upon our council, your favor upon our citizens, Father, your favor upon our nation, Father. Father, we just praise you. We love you, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Man, benediction.